Hi, I'm Jill Brevik and I'm running for Town Council in District 1. My goal is simple. I want our town government to reflect and respond to the people who live here. I chose North Amherst as the place I would lay down roots with my family. District 1 is where I spend most of my time, at the North Amherst Library or Puffer's Pond with my kids, going to town events or birthday parties at Mill River, hiking around the Atkins Reservoir. We have some really wonderfully diverse neighborhoods and great organizations like the Survival Center and the North Amherst Community Farm. I feel very fortunate to live here. And I believe that we also have a huge advantage in the fact that most people in our town are pretty aligned in our basic values. I think it's possible to heal the divides in this town with counselors who are dedicated to doing that work. I bring technical expertise and community organizing skills. So I bring professional experience in things like budgeting, revenue modeling, project management, but also in coalition building and community outreach. So I would bring a few different underrepresented perspectives to the council. I'd bring an organizer's perspective. I co-founded Valley Families for Palestine, and I helped bring the community together to support the resolution in support of a ceasefire in Gaza in 2024. I know how critical it is to speak out boldly for justice. I've been part of movements for racial justice and LGBTQ rights, and we know that these struggles are all connected. We also know that the boomerang comes back, so standing up against oppression abroad and nationally is linked to how we protect our rights and democracy here at home. And so if nothing else, my work in these areas should show you that I am strong in my values and I won't cower to pressure or sacrifice things that are important to constituents in our community. I'll lead with a social justice lens, supporting CRESS, reparations, ethical divestment, and policies that repair harm and create real equity. Many candidates say things like this, but you can see that I live it. I would also bring a parent's perspective. I love our schools, and my children light up when they talk about their teachers. But I've also watched teachers and staff stretched thinner every year. Underfunding is persistent, and we've lost student-facing positions in special education and restorative justice, and buildings are aging and unsafe. That's part of why I've been active with Support Our Schools Amherst. When we underfund schools or cut services, equity gaps grow wider. Families with means will always find ways to access tutoring, mental health supports, arts and language programs, but families without that safety net are left without all of this, which rapidly perpetuates inequity. My direct perspective here means that I can see we're in a critical situation that requires prioritization and emergency attention. I would also bring the perspective of someone who grew up in a town that was massively overdeveloped and that pushed out working families. This taught me how high the stakes can be when we ignore the warning signs. Housing is a concern that I hear a lot about in District 1. I believe in development that serves residents, not outside investors. Housing the people who live and work here can actually afford, and afford as a baseline, really, that people can live here and build equity and generational wealth for their families. And because so many of us also chose Amherst because of the town's beauty and open spaces, we have to protect our farmlands and forests too. I'd bring the perspective of someone also who has worked in nonprofits serving under-resourced neighborhoods for almost 2 decades. I know that the roads in Amherst are a huge problem for all of us, but I also know that popping a tire on a pothole can be crushing for someone who's saved up to buy their first car or who needs their car to get to work. I know that there are residents who are more isolated because they can't navigate our sidewalks in wheelchairs or walkers, or because they can't cross our rotaries without accessible pedestrian signals. These are things that residents have been advocating for over and over, and things just stay the same. This is why we need change. Finally, I would bring the perspective of someone who spent actually 2 years of my professional life writing grants for 40 hours a week. I understand how to evaluate the effectiveness of programs, how to research and lean on evidence-based solutions, how to dig into budgets, and use our numbers to tell the story of what's going on. I've led or served on boards of organizations that have had to make really tough choices, but also that have navigated challenges by actively and transparently engaging their communities. That's why I'm running. I'm here to collaborate and to be a strong voice for District 1 on the council. Please visit my website at jillforamherst.org or reach out to me anytime. Thank you.